Good afternoon. Very happy to be here. So also thank you for letting us to be here in Offenburg and to present how green was the Erasmus Plus program. The cases of Bulgaria, Finland, Germany, and Spain as green thermometers in the field of youth work. In my case, I've been related with Erasmus Plus or also with the old Youth in Action program since 2013. And in case of Teresa, also working directly with the Erasmus Plus program since 2016. And from that, we can say work field experience, also the idea to make this kind of research. And also related with this topic of Offenburg Talks. In that sense, we can say a little bit of the introduction of the last 7 years of the Erasmus Plus program and also what happened in these 7 years. We have that the environment has become a really big issue in the European Union agenda, and also having the Green Deal approved and a very nice, we can say, paper or document so far. Also, regarding youth work, in the 7 years, we believe that the youth work is gaining that recognition in a way, is also moving forward, not what we desire or want, but is improving and is gaining that idea that youth work can really work for young people and can make a difference. And also, the other issue or the other topic, the Erasmus Plus program, is coming the flagship program regarding youth, education, sport, and we are going to see what happened with the new Erasmus Plus program, but more or less, the last 7 years, it has been the flagship program of the European Commission regarding those topics.
So for the start with the theoretical context, it's necessary to understand that in the last year we live a lot of different and new things, and in the last decade we has become a fruitful setting for youth work, and we can show and we can assist in a new model to think about and to reflection about these kind of things. And now is the ideal framework to develop values and this specific way and this specific point of view can learn, and we can work about the new perception, and we can work about new attitudes that's so necessary for the present and for the future, and there we can put our vision. So youth work seems an effective framework to address climate change. We want to demonstrate that through our research events, educational programs, and sustainable campaigns. 3 things that can create this structural model for change and for growing up. So for continue with this theoretical context, in the case of sustainability, although in the past it's so difficult to find specific vocabulary, now we have a lot of different words for talk about the environment, for talk about climate change, and in this way we incorporate in the common glossary terms that it's so used for talk about these problems, that talk about these topics. So despite the concept is transversal to all areas and to all the groups, despite the specific things to affect there. And it's true that people have a special concern, and that specific concern manifested through activism. And it's only a one way, but we can find a lot more.
So in that sense, we also go further and we focus, especially in Erasmus Plus program. And in case of our research, we're going to focus specifically in strategic partnerships in the field of youth. That's the action that we are focused for this research. We are not evaluating Key Action 1 or Key Action 3, only Key Action 2 and strategic partnerships in the field of youth. And why? because as we already saw also in the previous presentations, we are thinking that strategic partnerships is this cross-sectoral cooperation. Many stakeholders come together to focus in one specific topic, and in this case, it should be environment, climate change, sustainability, energy and resources, and so on. And in that sense, the idea is that with a strategic partnership, we are supposed to have a more bigger impact in our organizations, in our routes, in our locality, and it's going to be also a long-term process. It's not just a one mobility, 7 days, 24 people together. It should be 24 years, even 32 years, working together for one of the priorities of the strategic partnerships, that is the environmental issue, to support all sectors to awareness raising about the environmental and climate change challenges. And also, the other thing is the professionalization of youth work. We were also talking that in the first presentation, that youth work is not asking how to be prepared or how to teach or how skills we have to have for address the climate change. It's also those things. One priority, all the sustainability, raising awareness, and also the professionalization of youth work. We have to combine those things in order to have that long-term impact in climate change issues. So, with a little bit of this context about our 3 topics, youth work, sustainability, Erasmus+, strategic partnerships, and so on, we're going to focus a little bit in 4 countries, in Bulgaria, Finland, Germany, and Spain, also having this north, western, center, south perspective in order to see what is happening in the 4 countries. And we are going to try to see if there is kind of socioeconomic context influencing what kind of projects these 4 countries are developing. And also having into account that I already was saying in the previous presentation that maybe some kind of youth are participating in decision, and maybe also regarding the socioeconomic context, some kind of young people are participating or not.
So in this way, we try to create a panoramic vision about the European reality, and we take these 4 countries, Bulgaria, Finland, Germany, and Spain, for the thing that Alonso explained before, the northwest, south. One of the most strange data for us is the first one, because with the unemployment, in the case of Bulgaria, we have a model that it's so normal because the period, but for example, in the case of Germany, it's aligned. It's aligned because it's so established. And in the case of Spain and Finland, we appreciate some different, but it's a similar model that we can to see in other data. For example, here we can show and we analyze the median equalized disposed income for young people. We take from 16 to 24, and here the data is more normal. We expected this one, sorry. But for example, Germany, here you have very, very similar data like Finland, but in the case of Spain and Bulgaria, the reality is a bit dramatic, you know. And here, in the case of people who don't study and don't work, we have surprisingly data, because in the case of Finland and the case of Spain, the numbers it's so low, and it's a very complicated because of the future and because of the opportunity for these people. It's a bit hard for other one because of the education and because of the opportunities, liberal opportunities.
So the data is from Eurostat, and according to those three indicators, we make kind of a small diagnosis, we can say, and we say, in this case, that Bulgaria and Spain have an unstable socioeconomic context, and Finland and Germany have a more stable socioeconomic context. Regarding those indicators, and knowing that the youth unemployment is a little bit there because Bulgaria has less than Finland, but in the other two, there are more our expectations. So, regarding that socioeconomic context, we follow next. And our general objective is to see if, in an unstable context, it's supposed to be less environmental projects, or are going to be less dedicated to climate change because of that context. And of course, in a more stable context, are going to be supposedly more environmental projects regarding Erasmus Plus, strategic partnerships in the field of youth.
So in our investigation, we focused on this specific object. So we expect that in stable socioeconomic situation that we explain, there will be greater presence of projects dedicated to sustainable, but it isn't true. And then, on the contrary, we expect that unstable socioeconomic situation in the case of Bulgaria and the case of Spain. There will be a lower presence of projects dedicated to sustainable, and it's so interesting to can reflect about this specific thing. So it's really hard to find data about Erasmus Plus project where you can not only walk. So, for example, you can learn about sustainable, you can learn about global change, and that it's a question that it no have a main role in this kind of projects. So in this way, as you see here, we take the data from 465 strategic partnerships from 2014 to 2018. And here in Germany, there are a lot of projects. As the first one is Spain, and probably in countries like Finland, where people are more, people work more with this kind of things, with development, with global change, it's easier to include in the public agenda. And for example, in the case of our country, it's difficult. So it's so difficult because people are not have the volunteer to work in these specific topics. And Bulgaria have the very similar data like Finland. Not so similar because it's the 67. But then we can resolve this specific theme because there are a lot of projects where you can connect the whole project with the specific things about global change, but not the main theme.
So that's a little bit of the sample that we have downloaded by the Erasmus Plus results platform. So in this case with secondary data. And after that, also having into account that is 2014 to 2020, not 2018. Also, we make a little bit of the data set. So we download the projects from the Erasmus Plus platform, and we make the cleaning of this information, and we focus especially in the title of the project, in the summary that the organizations provide, in the 3 topics that they have to choose in the application, and finally, the coordinator's country to know from each country it is. After that, we make the MaxQDA software for the documentary analysis to categorize and systematize the information regarding those data set. And to see if in title, summary, and topic, one of the following words is there. Not yet. And if climate change is there, if ecology is there, if environment is there, if green is there, if sustainable is there, and also energy and resources. And following the criteria that the own Erasmus Plus application give you for the 3 topics that you have to choose as a coordinator. So if those words appear in title, summary, and topics, it's a project that we can say that is related or is working directly, specifically in climate change issues. If not, it's another kind of topic or project. And after that, we make the social program, the software. I don't remember in English the word, but SPSS software. So we design the contingency tables and peer chi-square tests and so on, just to see if there is kind of any kind of relation between the socioeconomic context and the specific topics of the projects. And this is the results that we have. This is interesting, at least for us, but at the same time follow a little bit the line of the previous, especially from the first one, that from all the strategic partnerships that we have, only with the information available between with the Erasmus Plus platform results, only 13 projects have those words directly in the title, in the summary, and the topics. Only 30 projects were directly, specifically linked, saying that they were working with environmental topics, issues, climate change. 15 in unstable context, and also 15 in stable. Then we have the others that, in this case, we don't analyze what kind of topic, but there were no any kind of word related with our issue in this regard. And of course, as you already know, with the sample that we have regarding the projects and so on, there is no any kind of influence of the socioeconomic context, because also there is not enough projects to really measure that.
So despite general results in the country that we chose, Bulgaria, Finland, Germany, and Spain, we can see that, for example, in Bulgaria, from the 65 projects that Erasmus Plus made there, they only have 2 ones that talk about environment and have the environment that at a main issue. And for example, in Finland, the data is so dramatic. only one project talk about and walk about environment. In Germany and Spain, we have very similar data. And the reality is that countries work in these kind of projects, try to create a specific view about socioeconomic context, and try to create a future in common, a future that environment can to include in the public agenda. So in this case, we can see in the percentage square that the SIG approach bilateral, and we can understand and we can learn that the country's economic context don't have any influence of the project topic that we want to this and will change in the future. So here we have 2 things that collision. There seems to be a common point among the 4 countries, these 4 regions in the EU. And we say in one way the little interest in environment issues within a strategic partnerships in the field of youth, and it's so necessary. So in the other hand, we found and we learned that this research only focused on the information available on Erasmus Plus result platform. Furthermore, there are a lot of data, and it's so complicated to select for make a research. So it's possible probably in the future, and there are many more projects that are dedicated to the environment, than those identified in this study, we must be recognized.
So following that line, as Teresa said, we have that directly, only have that information, the coordinator organizations that give directly the information, only 30 projects were directly focusing that, so we don't have access to the activity program, to the final things that happen in the project, so maybe there is a lot more. And also, we are on, at the same time, we are only focusing strategic partnerships that we say before. We are looking for this cross-national cooperation and so on. And of course, maybe we are hoping that in youth, in Key Action 1 especially, in youth exchange, training courses, voluntary service, now Solidarity Corps and so on, maybe there is more projects related with environmental issues or climate change. And of course, we're only focused in 4 of the 27 countries of the European Union, so maybe if we go wider and we make a bigger research, maybe we can find countries that have a more projects related with climate change, environmental issues, no? Maybe, we don't know at this point. And of course, something we can say for the future, the idea is that at least from this research, in a modest way, and of course with all the things that we have to improve, the idea is to have this baseline about this happened in the previous Erasmus Plus program related environmental issues in the strategic partnerships, and from that we can go forward to see what happened in the new Erasmus Plus program, and knowing that this green issue or this green priority is more clear, we can say in a way, in the new Erasmus Plus program. And there is also the travels that now we have to be green. And so if you are green, you receive more funds. So it's a direct pressure to be greener. Maybe in the new program, we're going to see a little bit of a difference also in that. So a little bit of questions also for the reflection, for the discussion, what is happening next. Why is the environmental topic not shown directly in the strategic partnership projects? Why was not, for example, in the title? And of course, in the field of youth. Then, will the same results be found in the rest of the EU countries? Will be found the same in the Key Action 1, Key Action 3? And also, can we expect a greater number of strategic partnerships in the field of youth that directly claim to address the environmental issue in the new Erasmus program, also related with the Green Deal, and so on and so on? That's more or less the three questions for reflections. And also something interesting, at least for us, that Teresa and myself we were discussing. Spain and Bulgaria, that have more unstable socioeconomic context, at least in our research, have more projects funded than Finland and Germany. So it's also something to mark.
So we know that we have a lot of opportunities in the future, but it's necessary to create a structure to take the best way for take it. And sorry, in the coming years, probably we work with a period of 7 years, like your agenda. In the coming year, an exponential increase in job work and Erasmus Plus project is expected. We hope that, and this become an indispensable framework for action for all those, and without a doubt. To consolidate the environmental hours of the youngest, those people who's initiated on structural change in citizen, because it's the only way to connect our feelings with our work and work together for create a project with partnerships. And in the same way, for complete that, it's intended that Green Deal be on Erasmus Plus project based on environment issues and with a special emphasis on sustainable. That's our hypothesis. and then we try to develop and connect with civic skills, a topic that we work a lot in Erasmus Plus project, and it's necessary to take this way for change the future and for be grateful, sorry, with our past.